Hi everyone, my name is Joy Fowl, and I'm going to tell you today about why I am a coach with Beachbody. To begin, though, I think it's important that you know a little bit about me growing up. I grew up as a competitive dancer. That's what I did. There was never any question about it. I did it. I loved it. I wasn't like, fantastic, amazing, she's awesome. But I loved what I did, and I gave my all to it, and I was dependable and committed. Um, and I think that everyone knows that growing up as a competitive dancer, a cheerleader, gymnast, any kind of sport as a woman or a girl where you are in costumes or outfits where your body is shown, um, it wears on those girls. It wears on you. It's hard. We see a lot of self-esteem issues and body image, confidence issues. And for me, I feel like it was even more difficult because I physically matured very early. I have been this size since fifth grade. My body matured actually even earlier than fifth grade, but by fifth grade, I've been this size everywhere. And so it made, being those ages 8, 9, 10, 11 as a competitive dancer a little bit more difficult for me because my body was so much different than everyone else's. Um, it was hard, and so I've struggled a large part of my childhood with those body image problems, those thoughts in my head, and just never feeling good enough, feeling like knowing that I wasn't fat or overweight, but definitely not feeling comfortable in my own skin. I stopped dancing in high school, and that's when I started working out. And I remember I started working out at this hole in the wall gym called Powerhouse, and a lot of bodybuilders there. I totally didn't fit in. I was like this high school girl coming in all peppy and bubbly and just trying to get on a cardio machine. And I did that, and I fell in love with doing Tae Bo at home. I loved it. And I started running. And as I got into college, I became even more into running. And also in college, something changed, and I became more confident in my body and in myself. I was no means like this girl with this hot body, like people talk about, or like extremely muscular or anything like that. I wasn't necessarily skinny, but I wasn't overweight either. But I think that if I looking back at myself now in college, I was definitely a girl who stayed active and tried to stay in shape. And I think that that's probably what people thought about me physically when they looked at me. But for some reason in college, I didn't have the self-esteem or body image issues that I did growing up or like in high school. I continued to run and really got into it in college, and that was really my only form of exercise was running. And then, after college, I got engaged and was preparing for my wedding, and I really hit it hardcore, training and getting in shape for my wedding. I started going to this MMA gym, mixed martial arts gym, and took this class there, like a kickboxing class, twice a week. And I also, I became friends with the instructor, and he started training me twice a week as well. I'd go out to the gym, and I would run 6 to 8 miles on the treadmill, and then he would train me on weights. So I was really working out hard before my wedding, like hours spent in the gym, working out. But then after we were married, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to work out anymore. I don't want to do this. And I just want to go home and make dinner and be with my husband, and I never want to leave his side, right? So I stopped. I stopped working out. I took a break. I backed off and gave myself an out, And so 6 months later, I was pregnant. It didn't take very long at all. And I hadn't been working out at all. And with your first baby, in your first pregnancy, you're always so nervous. So I didn't want to start working out because I was afraid, jumping up and down or running, something would happen to the baby. And so I didn't. It didn't matter if I did or didn't work out because I was so sick during my pregnancy. I could barely get out of bed. I mean, it was terrible. I ate whatever I wanted while I was pregnant with my first child, whatever I wanted, because everybody was all, you'll burn all it off while you're breastfeeding. It'll fall right off after the pregnancy. If you have a craving, you need to give into it. That's part of being pregnant. Well, my craving was Sunkist and cherry slices, which are a gummy candy that are coated in sugar. And I would go and get a Sunkist, and I would get this big container of the cherry slices from Meijer, and I would sit and eat them. And I would eat that whole container in probably 2 or 3 days. And it got to the point where I was like, like, that's bad. Every once in a while you splurge like that, okay. But this was like often. It wasn't too far into my pregnancy that I realized I had really gained too much weight. It was pretty bad. Towards the end of my pregnancy is when it started, where I became super depressed. I ended up gaining a total of 61 pounds with my first pregnancy. For my small 5'1" frame, that's a lot of weight, and it's not a healthy weight gain. I was so embarrassed of myself and so ashamed. I took showers in the dark because I didn't want to see myself naked in the mirror. I wouldn't let my husband see me naked. Here I am within my first year of being married, pregnant with my first child, and my husband can't see me naked. He wasn't allowed in our bedroom when I would take a shower because I didn't want to risk him seeing me naked. I was really, really, really depressed. Taking showers in the dark is, that's an extreme measure to go to not have to see yourself. After Carolina was born, at this point I was working from home. My dream has always been to be a stay-at-home mom. I've never aspired to be an attorney or a doctor or to do anything outside of the home. I've always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I've wanted to, be on the PTA and have snacks in the car when I picked my daughter up from work, or kids up from work, and so it fell into my lap to work from home, and it was too good of an opportunity to turn down. We would have been stupid, so that's what I was doing. So I was working from home, and I was a mom, and I was trying to lose the weight, but I had no idea really where to begin because I was so overwhelmed with being a new mom. I would try to go for runs, but it didn't really work. I had gotten this brand new state-of-the-art running stroller, and we never used it. And we'd also gotten illegal copies of P90X, and we had tried doing that, and it wasn't my thing. I couldn't stick with it. And then I got Insanity, and I really liked Insanity, but our house was really small, and my daughter's room was right across the hall from us, and every time I would jump or do anything, she would wake up. And so I found myself being stuck, not knowing what to do, not being able to do anything, feeling completely lost, feeling like there was no hope for me, and that my body was just going to be what it was. Oh, I was so depressed. I had so much anxiety over it, and I was so stressed out. But slowly over time, the weight started to come off a little bit more. And later on down the road, I think my daughter was 2 at the time, I became a bar instructor at a local bar studio here in Louisville and loved it. I loved what I did. I loved teaching. I never saw myself as a fitness instructor of any kind because I hate speaking in front of people, so I never saw that as something I would do, but I loved it. There's this high that you get off of teaching a fitness class. It's really cool. I loved it, and I just really enjoyed helping other women and seeing them succeed. It was just this amazing feeling. I just loved it so much. And I continued to be really involved there and to teach and to enjoy seeing all of the clients that I had in my classes succeed and helping them with challenges, helping them to have, better form and all of those things. But I still wasn't seeing results that I wanted in my own body. And so at this point I was teaching, anywhere from 4 to 7 classes a week. I was going to spin at least once a week, and I was running at least 3 times a week. Not to mention taking classes myself at the studio. So it was a lot of time being spent working out, right? A lot. And so fast forward through it all, but you stick with it because you love it. And I was pregnant again with number 2. And I remember when it happened, I wanted to be so happy, but I wasn't. I was nervous and scared and sad because all I could think was, what if it happens again? What if I gain 61 pounds again? You know, it's taken me, like, seriously, almost 3 years to get all of that weight off and to get back to a spot where I'm happy with my body. I can't go through that again. I can't do it. But I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, you're being selfish, and this is a baby that God has blessed you with, and we're going to embrace it, and we're going to do what we can. And so what I did was I reached out to a girl I have known since college who is a coach, and I watched her success with what she was doing, and I thought maybe that could help me. I had talked to her several times before, and she had actually tried to get me to become a coach several times before, and I'm like, no, it's not for me. It's not for me. I'm not going to do that. Thanks, though, you know. And then she'd given me so many samples of Shakeology, and I would try to be like, oh, it's awful. It's awful. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. So I'd actually tried Shakeology for 4 different times at this point, and talked so much smack about it and made so much fun of it. And then here I am going to her and being like, I'm pregnant. I can't have what happened the first time happen this time. Will you please help me? And she did. So she added me into her clean eating groups, and while I was pregnant, I did the clean eating groups. And you know, if I felt like I needed more carbs that day, then I would allow myself another carb. But it taught me about nutrition and the important role that it plays, and that was something that I had never, you know, known anything about. And so when it came time to do a challenge group that she was doing, I wanted so badly to do something with her. And at this point in the journey, I was getting ready to have our son. We had a scheduled C-section. It was getting ready to happen, and so she was like, you know, why don't you start, you know, find a program and start with it in Shakeology, and, you know, as soon as you're ready, after he's born, you can, you know, jump in and start going. Well, I knew that I was going to be, you know, doing this for at least 6 to 8 months. You know, like it was going to be a process. At this point, I knew, like, in my journey with health and fitness, it was not just something that was going to happen in 30 days. So I knew I was going to be needing to be drinking Shakeology on the regular. So I signed up to be as a coach just so I could have the discount. I had no intention of coaching or, you know, leading a challenge group myself. And so that was in July. And Maverick was born in August, and I tried to breastfeed with him. Wasn't my thing. I couldn't do it. You know, more power to those who can. But so it was pretty immediate after he was born that I was able to start on the 21-day fix. And so I did. I did the 21-day fix, and I also did Less Meals Combat, which is a way older program of Beachbody's. And I stuck with the containers, and I kept doing it, and it wasn't 3 months post-baby that I had lost all 35 pounds. So 2 things I want you to pay attention to what I just said. First of all, baby number 2, I only gained 35 pounds. What was the difference? Well, I was in those challenge groups while I was pregnant, and my coach, she pushed me. She challenged me. She encouraged me and motivated me to work out every day, to do something. If it was just a walk, you know, maybe I wasn't feeling anything high impact or a run or anything. Maybe it was just a walk. But with her support, I was able to run until I was, I think it was 17 weeks pregnant. I was able to keep that up, and I was able to keep going to classes at the studio and going to spin until I think it was 28 weeks pregnant, maybe a little bit further than that, I can't remember. But she just kept encouraging me to go, and she let me know that, you know, if you do mess up or you do miss this or you do eat a pint of ice cream, it's okay, you're pregnant, but let's do what we can do. And so I only gained 35 pounds while I was pregnant with Maverick. A huge part of that was also due to nutrition and her teaching me about portion control and about balance, and showing me that I was eating way too much cheese and way too much fruit, and that carbs are your friend and that you need carbs. Your body needs carbs. You need to fuel your body. And so 35 pounds. And then it came off in 3 months. And no, I wasn't nursing. It came off because I was working out 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week, giving it my all for those 30 minutes, and because I was eating a balanced diet that nourished my body. So in November of that year, 2015, I decided, okay, I'm going to be an active coach. And that's when I had my first clean eating group, and from there my challenge groups and so forth and so on. And I'll never look back. There was a point very shortly after that first challenge group where I had to make a decision on whether I was going to be a coach and fully embrace coaching, or if I was going to continue to be a bar instructor. And I chose to be a coach. And it was the best decision for me. And it was definitely a leap of faith. I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know if I would be any good at it. I was afraid I was going to fail. But after praying and reflecting, God told me, you need to pursue this. You need to go do this. And I'm so glad that I listened to him, because it's changed my life in incredible ways, so many ways. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I am enjoying my life. I still work from home, but it's, definitely way less than part-time. My kids and my husband, my family are my number one priority, which is what I've always wanted. I do all of my coaching on my own time, on my own hours, when I want to do it. And I'm still able to do what I love so much, which is to help other people achieve their own success, to be their number one fan, to support them, to motivate them, and just to get them going, to let them know that when they screw up, it's not the end of the world, because we all screw up. It's about getting back up and getting going again. Coaching has, it's improved my self-confidence in ways I wouldn't even know how to explain it to you. Just everything has changed, and I am more myself and know myself better, and am so much more me than I ever was before I was a coach. It's given us incredible opportunities financially. Before, with just my husband's income from his full-time job, and then the income I was getting or am getting from the work I do from home. We have so many more things that we're able to do because we have, more financially because of coaching. I was able to, we had already had a trip planned to Disney World for our family. It was really cool that as I started coaching, I was able to pay for our trip to Disney World. I was able to use the income that I had made from coaching to take my family forward to Disney World for 7 days. That was cool. That was cool to say that, I did that I contributed that. And so many other things that it has blessed us with. But it's also given me all kinds of new friends and this huge support system. I'll never look back. I will never look back. I will never give up on coaching. I'll never walk away from it because it's completely changed me. But the biggest reason why I coach is because I never want to be that woman who takes a shower in the dark, who feels like she has to take a shower in the dark. I don't want any woman or anyone out there to feel like they have to take a shower in the dark so that they don't see their body, so that they're not forced to see their body. I don't want anyone out there to ever feel the way I felt during that time. To be ashamed of yourself. of the choices that you made with what you ate, and the lack of any exercise you did for not, for not caring about your body at all. That's why I coach. I coach because there's somebody out there who probably does take showers in the dark, or feel like she needs to, or maybe she just wants to. You don't have to do that. I know how you feel, and you don't have to do that. I coach and do what I do because I don't want anybody to ever feel that way ever again. And I don't ever want myself to feel that way again. So that's why I coach, to help other people. And it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.